Sick Picnic Media presents Lonely Boy, a novel in sound and color, written and performed by Matt Geiler. Chapter 1. Summerfall. Welcome everybody, we're here once again on the Pop and Power podcast. I'm Reg Greeby, bringing you all of the power pop sounds you didn't even know you needed, but once you get them in your ears, you'll jump and holler for more. At least that's what we hope and wish for in our deepest heart of hearts. That's the game plan. Anyway, and we're going to get right into it in this episode because our guest is an artist who can truly be called a darling of the underground and indie pop world, although I'm not sure how he feels about that. An artist whose otherworldly harmonies and penchant for darkly humorous and surreal, often very confessional lyrics have drawn comparisons to the Beach Boys, certainly Elliott Smith, Simon and Garfunkel, and who I've always been impressed by his ability to marry his vulnerability with a sense of the whimsical. And with the new album Lonely Boy coming out in September, there's a lot to discuss. We're very pleased and excited to have on the podcast again with us, Frederick Julius. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for having me, Reg. I always love talking with you about music, about anything really. I am reading from a review of Fixes and Elixirs, your last record, in Shindig magazine, the March 2020 issue. This is Kenneth Crystal's survey of the power pop landscape. He says, bursting at the seams with warm melodies, cool chord changes, and the kind of background vocals you don't hear much in today's power pop. One of the best additions to the canon in recent months, without doubt. Absolutely stunning. Were you stunned when that album took off so quickly? Yeah, I really was. It was an incredibly surprising thing when it took off like that, because up until then, I'd been writing and recording these records just in my house. They were really lo-fi kind of bedroom pop music that, I was just making for myself, really, just to get it out of my head. And I just really didn't expect anyone to pick up on it or notice it in that way, in a big way like that. I have to mention this before we get too far along, that we have a lot of musicians on the pod, and it's the nature of the beast. Everybody's promoting something, a record or tour or something, and that's part of the whole thing. But I have to say, I have always found you to be rather disinclined to go on at length about yourself and your music for a rock star. Not that you won't talk about it, because you're one of the most vulnerable people I've talked to as well, but I enjoy our conversations because they are conversations rather than a series of talking points that I get ahead of time from a publicist or Sample complete. Ready to continue?